Hello, my name's Adam, and welcome to your first installment of LC Online. This week, we are bringing to you a live stream every day at 4 p.m., going through all the different areas of the college. Today, we are going through our apprenticeships. I'm joined by Parish and Liz, who are going to be giving you some information about apprenticeships, and who are also going to be answering some FAQs that we get quite regularly on apprenticeships. So hopefully they'll help you out if you've got any questions. If you do have any other questions while we're going through this, feel free to comment in the comment section and we'll answer it live. So let me hand off to Parish and Liz just to give you a bit of an overview about apprenticeships.
Yeah, hi, thanks for that, Adam. My name's Parish. I work in apprenticeships at Leicester College. My speciality, if you like, is construction apprenticeship. So I deal with everything from electrical to gas to all the crafts. So you've got brick, carpentry, etc. So we'll deal with all the applications from learners, all the applications that come through the gov.uk website. We'll also deal with those. We'll liaise with parents. We'll liaise with candidates, with employers. We'll try and help candidates find apprenticeships by contacting employers and answer any questions that you may have to do with apprenticeships. Obviously, it's been a difficult time over the last few months, but we are continuing and employers are looking for apprentices. So things are slightly different in the way that we're doing things, but we're still here. We're still here to help you, and there still are apprenticeships available.
Hi, my name's Liz Lightowler and I work with Parish, and like he says, whereas he looks after the construction areas, I look after engineering, which includes motor vehicle, and also I look after the print area. So it is normally a very busy time at this time of the year for new apprentices, and like Parish says, we are still taking apprentices on, and going forwards in the future, hopefully there'll be lots of opportunities.
Brilliant, thanks for that both. So like I said, we're going to go through some frequently asked questions now. If you do have any questions while we're going through this, again, just pop them into the comments and we will hit them up. So the first question we have is, can I still get onto an apprenticeship for this year, 2020/2021? Who would like to answer that?
So, I'll take that. Yeah. I mean, if there is anything positive about the COVID situation, and there aren't many positives, let's be honest, about the situation, but one of the things is that the starts for some of our apprenticeships have been knocked back a bit. So, for example, within construction, whereas usually all the apprenticeship courses would start or would have started by now, they're not going to start, quite a few of them, till after October half term, which is the 26th of October, approximately. So, there are still opportunities. We have still got one or two employers who are coming to us looking for apprentices. And, if you are still interested in an apprenticeship, it's not too late necessarily. So look on the gov.uk website, where we will advertise vacancies, or contact us directly at Leicester College for details of any employers that might be looking.
Bro, thanks for that, Parish. Right, so the next question we've got is, which types of apprenticeships are still available?
I'll take that if you want. It does vary. There are different ones, like Parish says. Some of the construction areas have still got places available. In engineering, for instance, some of those areas have been delayed, so we will be probably more flexible rather than just starting in September. We're going to have to take different apprenticeships throughout the year, really, and look at different start dates. There's some areas, particularly business, which is always all year round. So we look at that all the time. So if you're interested in sort of business administration, customer services, then there are opportunities right through the year. Again, things like hairdressing does tend to be normally a September start, but again, we might have to look at being more flexible on those courses. So there are different ones available.
Bro, thank you for that, Les.
If I could, sorry, Adam.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Yeah, just add to that. It may be this is by no means a definite, but there may be some apprenticeships within construction, for example, that do have January starts now. It's not something that we necessarily do every year, but again, because of the situation, we need to be flexible as a college. So we are looking at some possible starts in January. Nothing's been confirmed yet. But I mean, the truth is that quite a lot of the areas have now got quite a few apprentices who are going to start soon, whereas at the beginning of lockdown, COVID, as a college or as employers, you might have thought, well, there's not going to be that many apprentices this year because of the situation. But fortunately, employers are looking to the future and are still being positive about recruiting apprentices. So, the outlook is bright, let's say, despite everything that's going on.
Brilliant. It's good to know, actually, because it gives a lot of students hope and it keeps options open so students can make the best choice for themselves. So the next question we've got is more with how apprenticeships work. So how often do I need to come into college if I do an apprenticeship? Who would like to take that?
I can take that if you like. Well, in the past, a lot of courses were either day release courses or some courses were block release courses. But again, because the college has got to be more flexible, we can't have too many people all in one class for safety reasons. So that will vary. It might be that you do a bit more work, anything we can do online, paperwork, you will be probably doing that online, and you might have to come into college once a fortnight, or it might be, for instance, I've just told one person they're coming in and they're going to be doing about 4 hours one day in college rather than doing a whole day because we've got to split classes up. So I can't give you a definite answer on that because different courses are set up differently anyway. But you will get a timetable before you start at college, so you know exactly when you're coming into college.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Liz.
If I could chip in with that as well. Yeah, as Liz says, I think we need to be, again, flexible, practical in how we do the teaching this year, how often learners need to come into college. With some of the apprenticeships, obviously the construction ones, engineering, the practical elements are there. It's a big part of the apprenticeship. So learners will be still required to come in at some point. How we actually do that, as Liz said, it is still being confirmed, timetables, etc. But I mean, in other years, for example, brick would be block release. So if you're a brick apprentice, you'd be in for 1 week at a time, and then the next 4 or 5 weeks you'd be with the employer, and the assessor would come out and see you in the workplace. It's similar for carpentry apprenticeships, bench, site carpentry work in a similar way. Whereas if you've got if you're doing an electrical or gas engineering apprenticeship, it's day release. So you'd be in college 1 day a week, every week, and again the assessor would come out and see you. This can vary if you need to do your functional skills. So if you need to do your English, your maths, functional skills again, then that would be planned in as block weeks. So we'd obviously give you plenty of notice, we'd give the employer plenty of notice, and you'd be scheduled to come in for a specific week throughout the year. So yeah, as Liz says, it can vary depending on the apprenticeship you're doing.
Well, thank you for that, Parish. So the next question we have is, how long does an apprenticeship last? Who wants to take it?
I'll take that. Yeah. Again, it depends on the type of apprenticeship you're doing, but any apprenticeship, it has to last at least a minimum of 1 year and a day, approximately. So, apprenticeships, some people out there say, oh, I could do an apprenticeship in 3 months, 6 months. No, you can't. It has to be a minimum of a year and a day. So, and then after that, it can vary. Some apprenticeships last just over a year. Again, bench and site, intermediate or level 2, last 18 months approximately. If you're doing an electrical apprenticeship and you're starting from scratch, that can last up to 4 years. If you're doing a gas engineering apprenticeship and you're starting from scratch, that can last 3 years. And the reason I say starting from scratch is sometimes if you've got an existing electrical qualification, if you've done a year in college, or if you've done a plumbing qualification for a year in college, then that will reduce the length of your apprenticeship. So it can vary. It depends on the apprenticeship you're doing and what prior qualifications and experience you have.
Bro, thanks for that, Parish. Just to build on what you just said then, so if I was a student who was looking to do a plumbing apprenticeship, for example, if I couldn't get an apprenticeship, would you still recommend that I take a plumbing course in the meantime and then look at reapplying the next year?
Absolutely. I mean, just to clarify, unfortunately, we don't do the plumbing apprenticeships anymore, but we do gas engineering, which involves plumbing to a certain degree. But absolutely, if you can't get an apprenticeship, if we can't find an employer for you, or if you don't come to us with an employer, then if you can, absolutely, I recommend doing the course for a year. So, for example, if you take electrical, if you did the electrical level 2 diploma in college for 1 year, then it wouldn't be a 4-year apprenticeship afterwards. It would only be a 3-year apprenticeship. So the fact you've done that level 2 will count towards the apprenticeship.
And also a lot of employers do prefer somebody, not always, but sometimes they do prefer somebody with that probably year's time in college to get a basic knowledge of a subject.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and especially if you've got something a bit more technical like electrical or gas, absolutely. If you've got a bit of theory behind you, maybe a bit of practical work as well, then an employer will be more interested in you as a candidate for an apprenticeship.
Fab. Thanks for that, guys. And I just sprung that on you. So the next question we have is, would I need to have passed English and Maths GCSEs to start an apprenticeship? And if so, what grades?
Okay, you don't have to have passed them. It depends on what level apprenticeship you're doing. So if you're doing, say, a level 3 apprenticeship, then you do really ideally need to have a 4 in your GCSE or above in English and Maths. If you haven't got that and you're not far off, then what you would have to do is during your apprenticeship, you would have to do functional skills and get that up to level 2, which in functional skills level 2 is equivalent to GCSE 4. Okay. If you were way off that and you were trying to do a level 3 qualification, you would probably find that too much, to be honest. So we would recommend you start at a lower level and work your way up. So you might do a college course at first. You could then do your English and Maths again to get that up to a higher grade and then go on to an apprenticeship. But it does depend on the level of the apprenticeship, what the English and Maths requirement is.
Great. Thanks for that, Liz. So the next question is probably one of the most important that people are sort of looking at, because it's one of the main selling points of an apprenticeship, I think. It's how much do I get paid for doing an apprenticeship? Who would like to take this one?
Yeah, I'll answer that.
Sure.
I mean, there is a minimum apprenticeship wage. So in the first year of your apprenticeship, it doesn't matter how old you are, irrespective of age, the employer only has to pay the minimum apprenticeship wage, which is £4.15 an hour at the moment. Moving on from that, I mean, some employers, just to clarify, some employers will pay more, absolutely. It depends on the type of apprenticeship you're doing, how much experience you've got, if you've done a qualification before, if you've got some work experience in the area. It's possible that the employer will pay more, but the minimum that they have to pay is £4.15 an hour. So for a 40-hour week, let's say if you work it, it works out at approximately £160 a week. But I've got lots of electrical apprentices, for example, who are on £5-6 an hour, some of them. So it does depend on a certain degree to what kind of candidate you are. It depends on the employer, how big the employer is as well. But the minimum is £4.15 an hour at the moment.
Bro, thanks for that, Parish. That clears that one up, because I know, especially when I was looking at my apprenticeship, I was like one of the things that I was looking at was wage as well, because especially if you're someone who's not necessarily coming straight out of GCSEs, you want to see what you're working with there. So it is good to know that.
Yeah.
Next,
sorry, just to add on to that, if you are a bit older or whatever your age is, in the second year of your apprenticeship, the employer has to pay the minimum wage, not the minimum wage for apprentices, but the minimum wage for your age.
It's a very good fact to know. I know, I was delighted when I found that out.
Yeah.
The next question we have is, what different levels of apprenticeships are available?
Okay, so I would say the majority of apprenticeships we do are level 3, but there are some level 2, and then they do vary. There's 4, 5, and they go up to degree level apprenticeships. But the majority that we do at Leicester College are 2, 3, really. I would say some we do like a team leading qualification that comes under the business area, and they can be higher levels. But then it depends if you're going on to sort of a degree level, that would be linked with a university. So, or you could do that through a university rather than at the college. Don't know if Parish has got anything to add on to that.
No, yeah, you're right. So level 2 is equivalent to 5 GCSEs, grades A to C. Level 3 is equivalent to A levels. So, it's quite a high level of apprenticeship. Then we do a level 4 in some areas. As Liz has said, there's associate project management. There's also in construction site supervisor, which is a new apprenticeship standard, which is at level 4 as well. So that's another one, which is equivalent to the first year of university, level 4. I think there are some level 5 apprenticeships that we offer as well. I know we have in the past. But Liz is right. If you want to do a degree level apprenticeship, that isn't something that we offer at the moment, but it probably would be a university. But so level 2, 3, 4, 5, varying levels of apprenticeships.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys. Just quickly, we have had a question from Julie. Julie, just to let you know about the induction, if you send us a message privately or give our customer service team a call, we should be able to look into that for you to find out what's happened, and then we should be able to get that resolved for you. But just send us a message via Facebook direct message, or give us a call on the General College number.
Can I just say, this year the enrolments are all being done online, and the inductions are as well. But that is all online rather than having people come into the college to do it in person. We've got a system set up, so it's all online. So if Julie's wondering about that, it will be on the online system.
Thank you. So the next questions we have is again just regarding how apprenticeships work. So are there exams or tests at the end of an apprenticeship, or is it all just coursework?
It's coursework as you go through. So that is coursework in the college, and then you also do work with your assessor as you go through your qualification. We now have endpoint assessments. So they are either tests or exams. They can be all different sorts of things. Some quite practical tests, some tests probably online, that sort of thing. So they do vary depending on the qualification. For instance, in motor vehicle, you have quite a practical endpoint assessment where you're examined by somebody. And then you also have a test on the computer, which is like a multiple choice question. And they're quite tough, I will say, but obviously they are at the end of your apprenticeship. So going through your apprenticeship, you're taught everything you'll need for that. So you are prepared for it, and we don't put you in for that until we're quite confident that, unless you have a really bad day, that you will be successful. So, you will feel quite confident by the time you get to that point.
Very well, thanks, Liz. So the next question we have is, how much time is spent on learning and how much time is spent on working during the apprenticeship?
Yeah, I'll say that. So apprenticeships now, an apprenticeship is a combination of learning and working. So, and in terms of the learning aspect of it, there has to be a minimum of 20% off the job, what we call off the job. So, for example, it could be as simple as 5 days a week, 4 of those days you're working, and the assessor will come out and see you in the workplace. And 1 day a week, which equates to 20%, is the day that you come into college. So that is part of it. And it, in the past, maybe some employers haven't been too happy about having to release people to come in, but that is an absolute requirement of any apprenticeship, that there has to be a minimum requirement. It could be more, but there has to be a minimum of 20% off the job. So, if an employer is looking to take on an apprentice, they do have to bear that in mind. They have to make that commitment. And there'll be an apprenticeship contract that's signed between the college and the employer, which does absolutely state that they have to let the student or release the student for 20% of their time in order to complete the learning for the apprenticeship.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Parish. And we've got another question about the employer, actually. Does the employer receive any funding for taking me on as an apprentice?
Yeah,
they do. It does depend on the age of the person. In the past, the employers received an incentive grant to take people who were between 16 and 18 on. But that has now changed with the COVID situation. The government have given out more incentives. So we'll just have to quickly look at my record. But 16 to 18 now, the employer will get the original £1,000 and they're entitled to get another £2,000 to take an apprentice on. 19 to 24, that's 2,000. And 25 and over is 1,500. Now they have got to take the apprentice on between August and 31st of January 2021. Obviously, I can only tell you what the government have said at the moment. So whether that will change, we don't know. So, but the government have announced that, so that's what the employer can receive. It does help if they, want a bit of help towards taking an apprentice on. So hopefully that will incentivise some companies to take more people on.
Yeah. Just to add with that, those grants are paid in 2 instalments. So the first instalment is paid after approximately 3 or 4 months that the apprentice has been on programme, and the second instalment is paid after a year on programme for the apprentice. So it's not something that the employer would get up front. Obviously we need to ensure that the apprentice is with the employer. They're on track to complete their programme. So it's paid in 2 instalments, that grant.
Brilliant. Thank you, Parish and Liz, for that. That was actually quite good to know. So it's almost like it's got a guarantee that you're going to be, the employer's not just going to take the money and run.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just one final thing. It's not, it won't come up as a banner, but could I just ask, what's the sort of process of becoming an apprentice for this? What happens? Could you walk us through it?
Yeah. I mean, shall I go, Liz?
Yeah,
go.
There's a number of ways to get an apprenticeship. So, for example, we'll have vacancies advertised on the Leicester College website, the gov.uk website. If it's on the Leicester College website, it will link you directly to the gov.uk website, and those applications should either come through to us directly, or if the employer wants those applications directly, the employer, for example, if it's a UHL hospital apprenticeship, for example, with the NHS, then it will go directly to them. They'll deal with the initial part of the application process. Then they'll send us the details of who they want to take on. So once you've got your apprenticeship, for example, then what we'll do, as Liz mentioned earlier, we'll get in touch with you. We'll get in touch with the employer. We'll confirm that the employer covers the range of work. We'll do this beforehand, before we advertise the vacancy, just to make sure that the employer does cover the range of work. So I know it sounds simplistic. So if an employer wants to take on a bench apprentice, we need to make sure that the employer does bench work, bench carpentry work. They make things. So we do that. We do our checks. We do our health and safety checks. We'd make sure that the employer has COVID arrangements in place. All of those health and safety checks we do first. Make sure they cover the range of work. And then once everything is confirmed, what we do with the candidate, once we've made sure they've got their, if there are requirements for English and maths, etc., everything's in place. Then we do the induction process. We do the online enrollment process as well. We'd send a contract to the employer, the apprenticeship contract, to make sure everything's covered, make sure everything's signed off. Then once everything's in place, there'd be a timetable that would sort out for the apprentice, make sure they've got that, make sure the employer is fully aware of when they need to come into college, exactly what their responsibilities are as an employer. So it's getting all that groundwork in place. Getting an apprenticeship is good, but we need to make sure that the apprentice is going to be safe, because they're a Leicester College apprentice. So we need to make sure they're going to be safe in the workplace, and we need to make sure that the employer is right for that apprenticeship, is going to do what they need to do. And then we'd do the induction, the enrollment, the timetable, and then the assessor would get in touch with the apprentice, and we'd get things moving.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Parish. I'll just put you on the spot there.
No, I don't think I missed anything out, Liz. Yeah.
Mainly it is a case. Sometimes we get people ringing us up and saying, "Oh, I've got an apprenticeship," and then when we speak to the company, they're not covering the range of works that are needed to do that qualification. So if in the past I've had some people who were working in garages, but they may only do sort of change tyres or body spray work, that sort of thing. It has to be the full sort of work on the car engine. They have to cover everything, else they just wouldn't get the experience to pass the exams. So it would be setting them up to fail, really, which obviously we don't want to do. So we do check with the company to make sure they do cover everything that's needed in the qualification.
Bro, thank you for that. Is there anything else either of you would like to add before we wrap this session up?
Just to say, like I said before, at the beginning of COVID, maybe we thought we're not going to get many apprentices this year. It's going to be a difficult year. It is a difficult year, no doubt. But we have still got, quite a few new apprentices that are going to start with us. We're hoping there'll be more, and we're trying to get employers on board. The government's introduced incentives as well. So, don't think that there aren't any apprentices out there. Sometimes it will take that hard work, maybe for you as a candidate, to get out there, find an employer, be persistent, because that's what an employer wants at the end of the day in an apprentice, someone who's enthusiastic, motivated, keen to learn. And if they see that you're getting out there looking for an apprenticeship, then you've got more of a chance. And we've got our contacts with employers as well, so we'll try and help you absolutely to find an apprenticeship too.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Parish. So we have popped the apprenticeship link in the comments of this live stream. So if you want to see what apprenticeships we've got currently, you can head to the website and do that. You can apply straight through the website, and hopefully we can get the ball rolling and you'd be in contact with Parish or Liz. If you have any other questions and you want to get into contact with us, feel free to message us or submit your questions on our website, and we will again get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Parish and Liz, for joining me to give this live stream.
No problem.
We do have another live stream tomorrow at 4 p.m. We've got them all week. Like I said, there'll be an array of different aspects to the college. So make sure you tune in for that. And if you want to see more about apprenticeships, make sure you come on down to our virtual open event. I don't know why I said come on down, because you can't actually come in. On the website, and you can register now, and then you'll get exclusive access to some exciting software where you'll be able to have an actual virtual tour of the college. So just head over to our website and you can check that out, and then there'll be lots more information about apprenticeships on that day as well. But thank you for joining, and we hope it's been informative.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.